This is the best creature in Pauper right now, and this is a top threat in Pioneer. And today, we will face these two in a duel where one deck costs literally the fraction of the other. But before we do that, I couldn't help but wonder, which was it better, Pioneer or Pauper Burn? One deck has the best removal spell ever made and similar versions. The other deck features powerful spells and planeswalkers that can turn the game around, but does rarity really determine winning strategies? Let's find out! In this match, I will be playing Pioneer Burn, and White Lotus will be playing Pauper Burn, as he is very well versed in it. So far, the starting hands are similar, as both of us have played permanents that damage our opponents when they enter the battlefield. The difference is that ours made our Monastery Whisper stronger. We then proceed to cast Light Up the Stage, which revealed 2 lands, and we pass the turn. On Lotus' turn, he played another Epicure, and as expected, our creature died. We now get to flip our creature and play our powerful Planeswalker, Chandra dressed to kill.
What? My hair is on fire? I know.
Still, for now, we just ping them for 1 and pass the turn. Chandra is bulky, so it will take a few spells to take her out. Probably not. With only lands at our disposal, this game went from good to bad, and now we only have a few options other than to deal as much damage as possible by playing our cards and attacking. On their turn, they were able to crack a synthesizer and add another body to the field that could block our only creature. However, after combat, Lotus decided to kill it with the revealed Lava Dart. Another land is bad news for us, so the only thing I can do now is to crack a land for some damage and pass the turn. Things got tricky after Lotus was able to chain a Monastery Swiftspear into a Cool Daughter Revert, dealing 6 damage directly, leaving me with not many options. While a play with fire can deal with the Swiftspear or the token, it's not enough to stabilize the board. They attack and I decided to go to game number 2. We decided to play without sideboards, as it will be very easy to hate on each other's deck, as cards like Goblin Chain Whirler would be devastating. That being said, while this hand is risky, almost every card in it costs 1 mana. I decided not to cast a Swiftspear this turn, as they could bulk my creature. To play around this, I cast a Play with Fire to pump my Soulscar Mage out of burn range. Despite this, a second burn spell was more than enough to kill my creature, but at least we can quickly rebuild our board next turn and attack Lotus for a bit. Back on their turn, a Reckless Impulse revealed an Epicure and a couple of cards, but this alone is not enough to stop my attack, so I decided to play a Soulscar Mage and attack with everything after clearing the board with the help of Bone Crusher Giant, which triggered the progress on my creatures. Lotus rebuilt at a decent pace by playing a Cool Daughter Revert and a Dwarven Force Chanter, and passed the turn. Light Up the Stage was our draw, so we cast it to trigger progress again, and revealed a Chandra and a land. We attacked, and while we lost a Commando in the process, we were able to deal some damage, and we got close to evening this match. Still, a few experimental synthesizer chains can change the course of this match, so we are not out of the woods yet. That said, a few burn spells managed to kill most of our creatures, and after looting away some cards, they quickly diminished our board and proceeded to reduce our life totals to 13. After having my board wiped in a single turn, land was just what I needed to reestablish my board presence by casting Chandra dressed to kill and Bone Crusher Giant with my Planeswalker First ability. Given the current board state, Lotus has to find a way to deal with my land, as otherwise I can simply transform it and kill him with the token and Chandra. Luckily for us, the plan failed, and now it's just a matter of time to proceed with our plan, despite having access to another line of play and winning the game on the spot. I attacked, they chump block, and after a few more interactions I eventually won the game number 2, so we moved to our final game to determine which mono-red deck was better. This hand looks very promising, but we must be careful about how we sequence our spells. If I play the Soulscar Mage on turn 1 and they kill it, I won't be able to use Wizard's Lightning on them for 1 mana, so we lead with a Monastery Swiftspear and attack for the turn. In a surprising turn of events, they didn't kill my creature, but were able to put 3 tokens on the field and deal 3 damage to me this turn. I untap and killed their Swiftspear but decided to stay back, as I didn't want to lose my creature in exchange for a couple of tokens. Lotus on tap, and played a couple of creatures which seemed good in our position. Now I can kill the dwarf and attack with both my prowess creatures, but since they refuse to block, I opted to use my Bone Crusher Giant to deal more damage to them. After cycling an Implement of Convention, Lotus put us down to 9, and I decided to use my Chandler to trigger prowess on both my creatures. But attacking might be reckless, as now I can die on the swing back if I am not being careful, so I just passed the turn. Despite this, Lotus was able to use back-to-back burn spells to kill me on the spot, and with this, the winner of the match was Pauper Burn. While at first glance, some cards like Soulscar Mage and Bone Crusher Giant seem to be threatening, they are a bit too slow against a deck that runs 12 copies of Lightning Bolt. Now, we will see if this is good enough to beat the best deck in Pioneer, Mono Green Devotion. This hand is strong, so we decided to keep it. However, with multiple ways of killing our creatures, especially Lava Dart, we will have a hard time keeping our elves in play. More importantly, a turn 1 Monastery Swiftspear has proven to be quite punishing regardless of the format. After losing our creature, our only option is to play a Wolf Willow Haven and pass the turn. They play a couple more creatures, and on my turn, all I can do is to play a Kiora and pass, hoping to cast a Storm the Festival that can hit some cards to stabilize the game. However, they start by playing an artifact that triggers prowess, sent a Lightning Bolt to my face, and used Lava Dart to finish me off in turn 4. This hand was alright, but this is the kind of start that the burn deck has access to. Moving to our second game, being on the play will help us not to fall much behind. After playing an Elvish Mystic, they immediately kill it, but luckily for us, a Wolf Willow Haven appeared. They play a Swiftspear after missing a land drop and pass the turn. And now I can untap freely, play a Kiora, untap my land with her ability and cast an Old Growth Troll to stall the board. Lotus found a land and cast a Wren's Resolve in order to look for answers, but they can't cast them this turn. After that, I top deck a Nyctos, which will be of great help to develop our mana even further, as it can add a mana based on the devotion of the color I choose. I decided to cast a second Troll, untap a land, and add 8 mana thanks to Nyctos, which will be more than enough to play a Karn and search for a Hairwear Might to kill their land. However, that was not necessary as Karn negates the land from adding mana, but I wanted to flex. I attack as well to show some dominance and pass the turn. With limited mana, all Lotus could do now on this turn was to play an artifact, sacrifice it to the Kuldotto Revert that was previously revealed, and pass the turn. This is where the game turns into a one-sided massacre, as now I can add a bunch of mana with Nyctos and Kiora, search for the Chain Bell to activate my Planeswalker's abilities once more, and add a bunch of mana again, play another Karn to fetch a broken artifact that makes opponent's spells cost 2 more to cast, and on top of that clear the void of tokens with Ratchet Bomb. I also attack because why not, but given that this game is over, we will move to the final game. If you are enjoying the content, please consider giving a like to the video. I decided to mulligan my initial hand as I decided that if they kill my elf, I wouldn't be able to play anything else. I happened to top deck the elf regardless, but as expected it met a removal spell, and now I'm 1 mana short again. Tu's start was also slow, and all they did was play a dwarf and pass. I cast Out of Nissa and was presented with the option to take a Llanowar elf, but since it's very likely it will get killed, I choose to take a third forest so I could start casting spells next turn. They play a Synthesizer, revealing a mountain, then sacrifice it to a Kuldotto Revealed, revealing a Fire Blast, sent back-to-back Chain Lightnings to my face, putting me down to 3 life points this turn. As you can imagine, there's no way I can win this game from here, so the winner across formats was undoubtedly Pauper Burn.